Over the weekend, I became aware of this video that's been posted to YouTube numerous times. I guess you could say it's gone viral. I don't know. But I took a look at it myself and I was appalled. It was a video of a 12-year-old boy and he was celebrating his birthday. And for his birthday, his father had treated him to a bunch of strippers at his party. And I'm thinking, you know, if that child was not psychologically damaged already, he will be now. Or this is the sort of thing that could probably have a lasting damaging effect. I just don't believe that at 12 years old, we're ready for that sort of thing. You know, I think at 12 years old, we're becoming curious, but to have grown women show up at your party scantily clad and start pushing their breasts into your face, I think that's a little too much for anyone to take. And I don't know anything about this family, the dynamics between the father and son and what this father is trying to do. Maybe he's trying to be the son's friend. Maybe he's just in a hurry for his son to grow up. I can only speculate, and I'm going to speculate in one additional way, which I think is, in my opinion, the most viable theory. But it could very well be that this father is beginning to question his son's orientation. All right? Because, you know, when we're prepubescent, we're young. I mean, we're all kind of almost one gender. I mean, you know, boys have the high-pitched voices. You talk to them on the phone. Sometimes you don't even know that you're talking to a boy. You think it's a girl. And I'm sure they take some ribbing for that sort of thing in school. And they can, you know, that can cause some confusion, but that's a whole nother matter that I'll try to get into in a moment. But for whatever reason, whatever this kid is doing may be sending some mixed signals to the father, and so he is out to try to get this kid in line and cut him off at the pass and make sure that he grows up to be a super macho heterosexual. And if in fact the kid is gay, I have no idea. That stunt isn't going to change anything. You know, one thing that I learned last week, and maybe I had learned it sooner, you know how sometimes you learn something, but you're not really ready to learn it, so you don't absorb it, you don't remember it. But I learned for sure, and it's committed to memory, I hope, I believe, for the rest of my life, what the Q and the LGBTQ is. Because that's relatively new. There's always been LGB, and then there was LGBT, and now it seems like Q has been added. And then the asexuals, I don't even know what they call themselves, but they're trying to hang their little letter onto that as well. And it hasn't happened yet. But I've often thought, when I thought about the Q at the end of the LGBT, I've often thought that it meant queer, and I thought that is so negative. And it took a straight woman to straighten me out and tell me that the Q is questioning. And that sounds familiar. I think I have learned that somewhere before. But let's talk about that for a minute. People that are LGBT are sure of what they are. They're ready to label themselves as such. I don't think people that are, you know, tentative and haven't really made up their mind should be putting themselves in this gray area and referring to themselves as somebody who's questioning. You know what? I hate to break it to you, you know, but I think if you're questioning, you know, I think you're ready to make a commitment. And that commitment is that you probably are going to be leading an alternative lifestyle for the rest of your life. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And some of you that are listening to me may disagree with that. But you know what? We all have only one life to live. And we got to live it for ourselves. And that is not selfish. Don't let anybody play any guilt trips on you and try to make you feel bad about who you believe who you are. Embrace it. Okay? If you're young and you're not independent and you're vulnerable, you know, I can understand why you may keep that under your hat, but be honest with yourself. You'll be a lot happier. Okay? If you weren't gay or bi or a lesbian, you wouldn't be questioning. Okay? Yes, it is true that growing up, a lot of us do go through a period of experimentation. That's all it is. When we're young, we're horny. And, you know, if we have an opportunity to do something, you know, get some action, a lot of times we're going to take it wherever we can get it. But it is a phase. But if you're feeling attractions, if when you're by yourself and you're thinking about sex and you're thinking about it with somebody that's of your same sex, you're not doing that for the hell of it, just for the sake of variety. That is your orientation, you know. So things are getting better. You know, if you know, it's becoming more the norm, and you know, I understand you may have an upbringing that's very religious or just, you know, very homophobic. So I'm not suggesting that you come out to anyone but yourself. All right, and you know, I hope this young kid grows up to be healthy in the mind, and I wish the same for you and everybody else. But again, you know, just because those who love you disapprove of some of the lifestyle choices that you're making, and it doesn't necessarily have to be anything sexual related, but just because they disagree with you, and just because you choose to continue doing what you want to do, doesn't mean that you don't love them and don't make them feel like you don't. You still do. But like I said, we all have but one life to live. All right? And when we die, it's over. And when we grow old, you can't look back. I mean, you can look back at it with regret, but a lot of good that's going to do you. So the time is now to live your life for yourself. All right? And if you're a person who is trying to control somebody else, you got to let them be who they are. Let them live their life. They're not trying to control you. I'm assuming you're probably grown now. No one's controlling you. No one's trying to tell you how to live your life. Don't do that to somebody else. Okay? And just because it was done to you doesn't mean it's right to do to somebody else. If there's somebody in your life that's doing their own thing, don't be jealous or envy them because they're doing what you only dreamed of doing when you were younger. Okay? And it's never too late to be who you really are. All right? The time to start is now. So that's all I have to say on the subject. I probably could talk a lot more about it, but I'm going to, you know, end up rambling. So I'll just leave it at that. All right? Your thoughts are any different, by all means, share. I'm interested in hearing. You know, as always, I appreciate you allowing me, you know, my opinion. So I'll do the same for you. Thanks. Have a good night.